Thanks, good morning. So with the fact that Weebly had that great party last night, and this is a talk about marketing, and it's probably the least technical thing you'll hear today, I'm really excited there's so many people in the room. So, how many people are familiar with Scrum or Agile development? So what Agile marketing is it's kind of a play on Agile for development or Scrum. It takes those principles and puts it into a marketing framework to use it in a business operations sense. So I've been in marketing for about 10 years now. cPanel is my first foray into the hosting business. So in the past 3 years since I've been there, I've learned a lot about hosting. When I started, I knew that web hosting was something I needed to have a website online, and that was kind of the extent of my knowledge. So in the 3 years that I've been there, I've picked up a lot, and cPanel is also my first foray into Agile marketing. So there's a couple ways you can connect with me on Twitter. If there's something you hear during the speech, tweet it out. LinkedIn, Google+, my website, my cPanel email address. Feel free to connect with me, ask questions about Agile marketing after this. I'll make the slides available on SlideShare. So anything you see up here, feel free to ask me about it, or I'll share that information with you. So kind of taking a look at the state of marketing right now, you'll see a lot of organizations that have like a CMO or a VP of marketing, directors, 1 or 2 directors, 3 directors sometimes, a couple of managers, and then you have everybody else that's doing the work. So a lot of times you'll see an organization that's really top-heavy, and you're trying to figure out, what do all these people do? What's this director do? What does this manager do? What's the chain of command? Who do I ask, these questions to? And then you have everybody else that's doing the work. And then another thing that you see quite often in this industry is the CMO, or the one-person shop. So you've got this one person that's trying to do all of the marketing. Agile marketing kind of works best with a team of anywhere between like 5 to 9 people, but there are concepts that can work for any size team. So I'll kind of get into those concepts here in a few minutes. But right now with marketing, we have all these tools available to us. CMSs, WordPress, social media, email platforms, CRMs. There's all these things that we have available to us as marketers, but the good thing is that we're actually all still pretty shitty at it. So we have all these amazing tools that keep coming out, all this new software, and we get excited about it and we say, oh, I need to add this. They showed me what this could do for my marketing program. I'm gonna add this to my mix. This is really gonna change things. And then we get it and we don't learn how to use it. So the best thing about Agile marketing is it kind of helps to prioritize those things and kind of take some of that guesswork out. But really what Agile marketing is it's a self-organizing methodology that marketing teams use that provides maximum value to the user. So it really focuses on who my user is instead of we need to do this or we need to do that. Who's the user that's going to get the value out of our marketing program? So the benefits of Agile marketing are prioritization. When we look at our work and look at our backlog, what it does is it helps us to prioritize the work so that we do what's most important first. Also transparency for our stakeholders, whether they're internal or external, transparency within our organization so that our companies know as a marketing team what we're working on. It's a very predictable method, and I'll talk about that a little more later and why it's predictable. And then also accountability. So there's accountability to your stakeholders, and then there's a lot more accountability to your actual team itself. And then, so right now, Agile marketing, a couple years ago, it was kind of one of those buzzwords in the industry, but there's quite a few big names that have adopted it and started doing it with some of their marketing teams and their product lines, and then cPanel picked it up about a year and a half ago. So the way it works, kind of getting into the actual process and the team structure of Agile marketing, is you have a product owner, which is my role on our team at cPanel. So yesterday, I actually had somebody that looked at my name badge on the exhibit floor, and they said, what's a product owner? They said, do you actually own part of cPanel now? And I was like, absolutely not. So what it is the product owner is the person that owns your backlog. You're the person that owns kind of the priority of the work, the projects that your team is doing. You work directly with the stakeholders. You're the person that actually kind of says, this is the list of work we have to do. These are the projects we have. This is the questions that we have to answer as a team. And as the product owner, you prioritize that based on the business value. Then you also have a Scrum Master, which is the same for development. The Scrum Master facilitates the process and keeps the team on track and makes sure that the work you're doing during your sprint, they make sure that that's getting done, and that if there are impediments or roadblocks to that, the Scrum Master is the person that will go through and remove that for you. And then you have your team members who they're your developers, your designers on a marketing team, your copywriters, and the goal really is to have a team of cross-functional people. So you may have a designer who has always been a really great designer, but with Agile marketing, what it pushes is for that person to actually get outside of their comfort zone and maybe spend some time doing some copywriting so that they start to learn that. And so you don't have a team of people who are very flat with their skill set, but it's more T-shaped. So you've got people who can do a little bit of everything. And the process that you use for it is you have your product backlog. So your product backlog is everything that you need to do, all of the work, all of the projects that come in, all of the things that happen. And then your sprint backlog is when you actually take a sprint period, which is typically 2 to 4 weeks. You take what's at the top of your backlog because it's been prioritized based on what has the most business value. So you pull into your sprint backlog what we can actually accomplish in that 2 to 4 week period. In the sprint cycle, which is that 2 to 4 week period, that's where you actually do the work that you pulled in, and then at the end of that, you have a demo where you showcase the work to the stakeholders so you can show them what you were able to accomplish in that 2 weeks. So kind of tying this back to the industry where we are, if you look online right now, the Internet Ad Exchange and cookies have done a great job of anytime we visit a site where there's ad space, you start to see these things because of the types of sites that we look at. Even if you're on Amazon and you're looking at like a juicer, the next time you're on Facebook, in that column, you might see an ad for that same juicer you just got done looking at. So what happens here is that you can see a lot of people focus on the money, the pricing, the discount. With Agile marketing, it puts the customer first. So a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this in the past, it's really easy to go straight to the price point. But by looking at what the customer needs, it may not always be that price point that is the selling point for the customer. And so with Agile marketing, to put the customer first, you frame everything into what's called a user story. So what it is you frame it as a certain type of customer, I'm looking for this, or I need to do this, or I want to do this so that I can achieve this certain result. So where Agile for development focuses on delivering a feature, Agile marketing focuses on delivering a result. So the campaign result is what you're really trying to accomplish with Agile marketing. So for example, you may say, as a small business owner, I want to launch a website so that I can make money. So if you're really looking at this user and their motivations and what's going to get them to buy web hosting from you, it may not be that price point. It may not be that $2.99 for the first year each month, or that, a free month if you sign up for a full year. What they really want to do is they want to make money from their website. They're a small business, so their motivation, if they're a non-technical person, they may be willing to pay more if you market that as get online fast, get online easy with a drag and drop site builder. Something like that where their motivation is really, this is easy for me to get my business started. I'm willing to invest more money than $1.99 a month to get my business started, but I need to know it's easy. But at the same time, it could be the money factor. So it's really just about knowing what the motivations of your customers are. And the other good thing about Agile marketing is that it allows for rapid change. So if you decide, based on the research we have a lot of data that says our customers want to get online fast. They want to be able to easily build a website because we have a very non-technical group. So you launch this campaign within 2 weeks. You spend 2 weeks putting together the creative, the ad buys. You get all this out the door in 2 weeks. Then you spend the next 2 weeks doing more work on a different project. But that whole time, you're measuring the results of this campaign. So instead of spending 6 months trying to understand your customers, putting together this big bang campaign that you think is really going to drive the results, what you've done is you've spent 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you find out this didn't move the needle, this didn't sell anything, it wasn't about the ease of use, then you're like, okay, let's spend the next 2 weeks. Let's try pricing. Maybe it is pricing. So you've only lost 2 weeks here. You've only lost 2 weeks in that campaign instead of 6 months. And then you're able to fail and fail fast, and then you're able to self-correct quickly. So that 2 to 4 week cycle, it really depends on what works for your team. The team that I'm on, we've tried a 3 week cycle, we've tried 1 week, we've decided on 2 weeks. That's what works best for us. But there are teams that will do a 3 or 4 week cycle. So really, it just depends on what's going to work for your team. It also relies on data and metrics. So we talk a lot in marketing now about big data, all these numbers, and I mean, we're still in a place where there's a lot of people who don't know what to do with it. And I was actually talking with Nick from Weebly yesterday about data and analysis and all this stuff and analysts that they have. And data, we look at it as marketers a lot of times from a very high level, and we were kind of talking about everything that's possible with it. But for me, I still look at data from a campaign standpoint and what's moving the needle for marketing campaigns. But with Agile marketing, what it does is it allows you to launch your campaign. You've spent 2 weeks, you launch it. The next 2 weeks while you're working on something else, you measure it, and then you get to go back and iterate it. So it's very cyclical. So anything that you're doing, you're actually always looking at the numbers. So an example for cPanel is we recently relaunched our website in March. When we did that, we had 2 goals. We wanted people to try our product and buy our product. So in that time period, since we launched the website on, I believe it was around March 23rd, right before WHD.global, we launched the website, and so looking at the analytics today on Google Analytics, I know that since we launched it, we've had over 10,000 people, about 10,700, click on a Buy Now button on our site. So with that, we also know that there's a small segment of our direct purchases from our website, a small segment that's actually down in new orders for the month since the site launched. So what that allows me to do now is to actually take that knowledge, take that data, and realize that 10,000 is not the benchmark number that we need. So what we'll do is we'll go back now and we'll say, okay, how can we take that 10,000 number and how can we get it to 20,000 that's going to get those numbers back up? So we're not stuck with something that we spent 4 months on the website, but now we're able to go back and make small iterations on small parts to actually fix a problem that we were able to measure after the launch. So that whole concept of launch, measure, and iterate, it makes it so much easier to do effective marketing. So if you look at everything, when you frame it from that user perspective and take that user story, and then the whole concept of launch, measure, and iterate, you framed it in the concept of putting your customer first. Now you're looking at everything, you've spent 2 to 4 weeks, you've launched it, you haven't spent a month, you haven't lost a year doing market research, you've done enough research to know what you think is going to be effective, and then you have your benefits, you have your outcome, you have your desired outcome, you're able to see what worked, what didn't, and in that short period of time fix it. That's what Agile marketing is, and when we first started it at cPanel, I kind of went into it with that very cynical attitude of, I've done marketing for 9 years, this is a buzzword, this isn't going to work for us. After the first 9 months, I was still kind of in that kicking and screaming, trying to get out of this, trying to figure out this doesn't work, justifying reasons why it didn't work. After a year and a half, I'm completely sold on this, and if I ever left cPanel to go to another organization, if they weren't willing to do Agile marketing, I probably wouldn't go to that organization. So I'll be in booth 35 the rest of the day. If you have questions about Agile marketing, you can connect with me on any of these things. Also, we have a huge checkerboard in our booth, number 35. As of right now, I'm still undefeated, but stop by, play a game with me. You might win a $10 Starbucks gift card. So thank you, guys.